more I read this book, I'm like, this is a really good book. So we want to get into the different levels of intimacy. We're getting ready to get into these different parts. We're getting ready to get into part 2 of this book, which is called "How the 7 Levels of Intimacy Will Change Your Relationships and Your Life." Okay, because some of y'all need y'all lives changed, and if you guys don't have this book, please check it out in my shop down in the comment section. Child, did I put it up? I think it's there. Let me see. I didn't put it up because I kept taking it down and putting it. Okay, there it is. There it is. There it is. For y'all that didn't see it, there it is, honey. There goes the book, y'all. I want you guys to consider getting this book. If you want to grow in your levels of love, we all need to grow. I want you all to consider getting this book. This book is going to be a blessing to your life. So I want to definitely encourage you guys. There go my sis. What's up, sis? To really consider getting this book, because y'all, we need to grow. We need to have healthy relationships. I think a lot of us just be in relationships, and we don't need to just be in relationships. We need to be in healthy relationships, right? So I want to encourage you guys to get this book. I'm still trying to send this out to some people, because it's some people, you know how you be in other people's lives, and so you feel like they should come to your live at least to say hey. So I want to send this out, and I'm probably gonna do this a little bit later on too. I don't see that's why I had to stop, because I don't be remembering folks' names. How y'all be sending out stuff? Y'all that be going live, how do y'all do it? Like, I have a lot of people I could be sending my live to, but it's like, to remember people's name on the spot, I'm not good at that. And then they be like, girl, you didn't even invite me. It wasn't that I invited you. It's just like I couldn't think of your name at the time that I was going live. Like, I can't remember. Thank you, sis. I can't remember folks' names. So it's not that I don't know you, but I just, my mind was just, child. I was listening to some people talk about, what's it, perimenopause. I don't think that I'm there yet, but I don't know. I don't want to talk about it. How about that? I don't want to talk about it. Who are you, Jordan? I don't really know who you are to just bring you up. Can you have some let you in? Like, do you know what we're talking about? You just want to just come on up, like just like that? Can you tell me who you are and, what you're going to bring to this discussion? Because, we want to make sure we're having a healthy discussion and not just bringing people up, because we don't want no confusion. You came in to spread love. What you going to spread love about? Okay, let me see. Because, it ain't the type of love we trying to spread. Okay, go ahead. Spread some love. Let us hear about you.
Let's praise to God real quick.
Huh?
Let's praise to the Lord real quick.
Oh, you want to praise the Lord?
Yeah, let's praise to the Lord real quick.
We already praised the Lord. I already brought him in. What Lord do you praise? What Lord do you worship?
Jesus Christ.
Okay. Well, we did that. I do that at the beginning of every book club discussion. So we do book club discussion, but I can't do nothing without the Lord being all up and through.
W, I just gave you a follow.
Thank you. But this discussion is about relationships. We're talking about how to maintain them, because a lot of times people are in relationships and their relationships ain't healthy, so they're not providing the image of who God is in their relationships with other people. So
you definitely got to keep God in your relationship to keep it healthy.
Exactly. Oh, my throat is open this afternoon. So that's what we about. Hey, sis. Hey, Angie. We might need you to come on up, sis. What's up, Checks and Balance? What was your other name? Because it wasn't Checks and Balance. So for the people that don't know what your name is, what's your name again? Oh, he's muted. So he was a part of the discussion the last time we all went live together on a Saturday. And I really appreciate him going. Where you going? Are you? Hopefully you ride, because if you're not riding, you might need to turn that off, because the tick to the talk, they be having a problem with you doing that type of thing. You don't want to lose your ability to be on. So checks and balance. If you are you might want to turn your camera off, because you're looking like you're doing something that you're not supposed to be doing on the live. What's up, Jay baby? What's going on? So you just don't want to put yourself in a situation where you lose your ability to be on the lives. So I'm gonna bring you down so you can turn your camera around, because I don't think you can do it. So I'm gonna disconnect you, okay? Because I don't want you to get in trouble. You get in TikTok jail. You don't want that. We don't want that for you. What's up, DC Barbara? What's going on? What's up, Jay Breezy? That's what I'm talking about. What's up, my peoples? What's up? You gonna talk about relationships with me for a little while?
Wow, what's up?
No, we say we.
What's that?
Wow, no,
Yeah.
I'm just messing. I'm just messing. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. What's up with the
Good.
relationships? You hear me?
Yeah. So we're getting ready to get into this book is called The Seven Levels of Intimacy. And it's a really, really powerful book. When you look at relationships, it's important to look at them from various levels. So I like how this author talks about there are four major aspects of intimacy, which is physical intimacy, which we already know what that is. But in addition to just the act of knacking, there is just shaking hands. That's physical intimacy. Giving a kiss on the cheek, sitting close together can be physical intimacy. And so a lot of people don't know what that is. And so it's important to know that. Then there's emotional intimacy, which is just being vulnerable to other people. So, like in relationships, a lot of times people don't even want to really be vulnerable. They don't want to talk about the things that make them who they are. They don't want to talk about their past pain. They don't want to talk about any of those type of things. But that is a sum of who you are, right? It says emotional intimacy cannot be isolated from others. And there are aspects of it, but they're the aspects of the human person, right? So they're the physical, the emotional, the intellectual, and the spiritual. But that emotional piece is very important. And a lot of times, especially in relationships, we don't open ourselves up emotionally. But
Mhm.
there's intellectual intimacy, okay, and that blossoms because it's non-judgmental. You guys can talk about your ideas, which a lot of us do on the tick to the talk, and I've done that a lot with you when we're having a good time talking about music, because then there's an opportunity to get some personal information about you and those around us in the group when we have intellectual intimacy. And then there's the spiritual. Okay. So when you look at relationships, those four levels, what do you think is important to you in a relationship other than the physical?
Oh, I think they all are equally important
Hmm.
because you can't have a successful relationship without all of them. But if I had to pick, uh, you said spiritual intimacy, you said?
Spiritual, intellectual, emotional, and then of course there's physical. And so I know physical is important, especially to men, because most men, their primary love language is physical contact. And so I just want to ask you, outside of physical, what's important to you? Is emotional
Uh,
intimacy important?
yeah,
Intellectual?
I would say spiritual.
Why? Tell me why.
I think you have to be on the same. You have to be evenly yoked in
Hmm.
order to have some type of sense of where y'all headed in a relationship, because values and your moral system is pretty much what makes you you. It builds your character.
Absolutely.
It makes you have a view in life about what's important. And so I believe without that, nothing else matters actually. Because
Mhm.
if you don't like a person's decision making on principles, you're not going to be able to get close to them because you're not going to trust them.
Right. I agree with that. It is. It's difficult to get that emotional aspect. And I like what they say because people think when they think about spiritual intimacy, they just think about the intimacy relationship with God. But it says it's the virtue that makes all respect. It puts respect in a relationship. It's like helping. It's like the essence of I want you to win. And if I want you to win, I'm going to do everything in my power to help you win. And that's the spiritual intimacy, right? So it's the reason why our spirit, just like why we're connected to each other. It helps us to connect on a level that, it's just unmatched, right? And so, but a lot of times they say it's very dangerous because in a relationship, if you don't have that spiritual aspect to it, then you don't have anything. You don't have nothing to fall back on.
Absolutely.
hmm
Hmm.
hmm Look at you coming up here giving me some intellectual intimacy.
I'm an onion, Zazzy.
Are you? I need to peel, honey. I need to peel back. I need to
Go
peel back. Okay,
ahead.
look at all these people over here. Thank y'all for coming in, liking the live, helping me out, giving me some love. I appreciate that. So what I'm learning about this book and just about relationships is that there has to be some discipline. We have to discipline ourselves and when it comes to relationship. And it says that discipline is the road that leads to a fulfillment of life. So when you look at every aspect, when you look at spiritual intimacy, physical intimacy, emotional intimacy, you have to have discipline in each of those levels of intimacy. Do you think that discipline is important in a relationship?
Uh, 1,000%. And not just in relationships, in anything. If you go to a buffet and eat too much, you're gonna hate food after you finish eating. So
Exactly.
not having discipline can actually ruin the experience of anything. And so when you
hmm
have discipline, you actually put yourself in a situation where you desire it more, and it's actually fulfilling and satisfying,
hmm
as opposed to creating an actual negative.
Yeah, I like that. I
I'm
like
sure you
that.
do.
Hmm?
I know you do.
When you when you um when you think about like relationship, I know I've met two of your siblings. What do you when because see everybody just looks at relationships when it comes to just the relationship with your significant other. But that the relationship with your siblings, the relationship with your parents, and the relationship with your kids, in addition to the relationship with your significant other, are considered your primary relationships. So when you think about primary relationships, how important are your primary relationships to you?
Um, Very. I mean, that if you can't hold a relationship with a family member or the people who you consider friends, then it's going to be pretty hard for you to hold a relationship with a mate or someone you're interested in, because the same principles apply: respect, love, loyalty. So it doesn't change just because you get physically intimate. It's the same concepts that make you a person that people want to be around.
But you're physically intimate with your siblings anyway. I'm quite sure as soon as you see them, you hugging them, you kissing them, you loving them, you high fiving them.
True. That's a fact.
Yeah. So that's why I think it's important to really be able to break these conversations down and really look at because people. I mean, I don't know what it is about physical intimacy. People only look at it from one way, the smacking, and you do more than that's more than physical intimacy. And like I never even reading this book has helped me because I never even saw like with they say that a lot of politicians they know how important it is to engage in physical intimacy. That's why they go out and see their constituents and they go out and shake hands and kiss babies and do all of that because of physical intimacy and why physical intimacy is so important. What's up, Logic? Thank you for coming through. Like I never saw anything other than being with your significant other. I never saw all of the other areas being considered physical intimacy.
Yeah, I mean, touching in a lot of ways. I mean, it's a comforting thing. It's a
hmm
trusting thing. You hug somebody who's crying.
hmm
You can't wait to get your hands on the person you want to be with. When you get a baby, you hold them and carry them. I mean, it's touching is I mean, that's one of the senses that we have to uh, satisfy as well. I mean, you
Yeah,
have smell, taste,
yeah,
hearing,
yeah.
and touch. Touch is a very important way of perceiving life.
Yeah, and Jesus does love us, and we talk. I told you Jesus is all up and through. I did mention that. I don't know if you're the same person that are coming in on a different name, but yeah, Jesus is who we love. So I'm glad you know who He is, and we don't preach in here, but we do have conversations in here, and so we do talk about Jesus. So I'm glad that you mentioned Him. Okay. I want to get into Angie. You want to come up, sis? I know you in the background. Where's she at? Did she leave out? Okay, I think she left. Oh, there she go. Angie, you feel like coming up? I want to get into something else I want to cover before we get into these different levels. I like how this author was saying something about, we also need to consider, when we look at our lives, we also need to look at what is not working in our lives. He says the reality is we all have areas of our lives that are not functioning the way we would like for them to, and yet our tendency is to ignore those areas hoping that they will go away. They don't, and we need to face them and explore them and wrestle with them. Okay. So, relationships are either growing or unaliving. All right. There is no middle ground. This is one of the governing principles of this universe. Everything is constantly changing. Right. So if everything is constantly changing, then we need to constantly. No, please don't use my picture. No, thank you. Thank you, but no, thank you. No, no, I'm not cool with that. Please don't. I give you no permission to do that. All right, none whatsoever, and it's on record that I not give you. No, well, you need to take it off. You don't. You don't have my permission.
It's a troll, Jazzy. Come on, baby, folks.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm real focused. I'm not kidding. You just left. Bye. We don't play like that. I don't understand why people want to use your pictures. Like you get, I get like DMs, like I want to use your picture for something. Why do people do that?
You wanted a reaction. If you wanted to use your picture, you would have never asked. You'd have just used it.
Exactly. Well, then he got one. Yeah, I don't see the purpose in that one. Mm-mm.
Trying to shake you off your love conversation. Come on now.
Oh,
That's what
okay. Because that's what's gonna help people change. That's what's gonna help people grow. Is
very
all
good.
this love.
That's right.
Yeah. So we definitely ain't about to do that. Wait 1 second. Hey, baby, you can go get the food, okay? Huh? You can open the door. They're gone. I'm looking out the window. I'm looking at the cameras. Go ahead. Sorry about that, y'all. Multitasking. Single mom. Trying to do it all over here. Um, okay. Sorry, y'all. So I'll be tapping in, tap, 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 tap. Hey, tap, 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 tap. Let's see. Where was I at? Where was I at? So I wanted to get into just we really need to grow. So they talk about the primary relationship. So then when you think about your secondary relationship, so they say some of our relationships between our parents, children, and others are significant, but sometimes they're considered insignificant, right? It says our primary relationship tend to have a tremendous impact on our secondary relationships. That may be true because how you deal with your primary people is going to show how you're going to deal with your secondary people. And your secondary people are sometimes your coworkers. If you're part of organizations, they could be those that you're in secondary relationships with. Um, Sometimes you can have a spouse, and then that spouse is no longer your spouse, but you guys may share children together. Where would you put them, Jay? But you think that's a
That's
secondary person, or they still be a primary person?
no, that's primary.
They still primary.
Yeah, children for sure.
My children are primary, but are you?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a major impact on your children, so you can't get around that.
Mm, mm. You might be telling the truth. You might be telling the truth.
If let me ask you this: if they were unalive, wouldn't you be one of the people that's on the front rows?
Yeah, I still be on the front row from my ex because of my children's sake. I still be on the front row, but I still don't consider you a primary relationship person.
I mean, y'all created life,
We
so
did, and I got nothing but love. I will be your cheerleader. I'm still here for you, but
if he won the lottery, it would affect you. You know,
I don't know. Not the type of person he is.
no, indirectly it's gonna affect you. You know, it's coming
Yeah,
from you. You know,
yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. We would win. And if not, if it's the other way around, he would. If I were to win, he would win. But yeah, he ain't like that, and that's okay. That's why
if
he's
your
my
coworker
ex.
if your coworker won the lottery, you don't know what's gonna happen. It ain't coming. No, it's not. You may not see him again.
Yeah.
You
Hmm. Everybody doesn't. Everybody. That's why it's important for me to do this book because everybody doesn't love Angie laughing. Everybody doesn't love the way they need to love, and that's the problem. We categorize love, and I mean I do too. I mean like you just made that statement. I'm just like because ooh child, I
know, I
got
mean,
growth to do.
there's different types of love. I mean, you got what is it, Philia,
Mm-hmm.
Eros.
Mm-hmm.
You
Look at
also
you,
have
see you my
agape.
boy. Look at you
Okay,
doing love.
you know what I'm talking
Fila
about?
Eros. Mm-hmm.
Agape, and it's got like two or three more.
Yeah.
It's a different breakdown. Look, Zazzy, don't try to play me. Look, I
I mean,
told
I didn't know this was you.
you. Yeah,
I
well,
can sense I can sense that, when you talk, but see, I didn't know. Cause see, we
mm,
be kikiing so much that you don't be getting all of that in them conversations.
that's what I'm saying. You know
Mhm.
what I'm talking about?
Mhm.
Never judge. You never
I didn't
know.
judge, I just didn't know. Not a judgment, just didn't know.
But no, I mean that's a separation. I mean, agape is just the love of a neighbor. You have philia, the love of a family member, brother.
Fila. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean that's where you get Philadelphia from. But
Mm-hmm.
you got eros. That's love of a partner or mate.
Mm-hmm.
It's a difference, and people don't know how to transition all the time to certain things because you can have a agape turn into eros all the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta know how to transition those things based on the situation you're in. But
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people haven't been loved, so they don't understand how to do it. They've been, you know, in toxic situations, and they mistakenly view that as love, and it's not.
And see the thing is, people don't see. So okay, there's agape, there's philia, there's pragma, which is based on the type of practical love that is based on commitment and understanding and compromise. So ludus, like I like that love. That's the uncommitted love. So ludus is when you see somebody, you just like, So it's like it's playful. You just, when you vibe with somebody, you meet somebody some random place, and you just like, oh my goodness. And so people be thinking that's not love. People don't want to, oh, that's just infatuation. Infatuation is a form of love. So I appreciate
Oh,
you. It is. It's listed on the love language, the different types of love. It is.
okay, okay.
Yeah. So when you meet somebody and you just vibe with them and that feeling, you feel like this, like you could be the homie. That's a love language. That's a part of love. That's a love. We probably
Okay.
can, but can you trying to get up in the camera? Okay, but not right now though. Maybe in a couple of hours. Okay, I'll take y'all to. I could probably take y'all to that game room. Okay, I'm sorry. These 8-year-olds that already planning, they got better schedules than I got.
No, but I mean that's I mean what that right there is what that is storage or something. I think it is.
Which one?
Love storage, family, love. You know, you and your 8-year-old.
Oh
It's
yeah, Fila. That's Fila.
Let's feel it, Philia. Okay.
Fila. Yeah, it's so it says, well, let me see. Okay, so Fila is a type of friendship that's characterized by a strong bond, mutual respect, sense of camaraderie. Wait a minute. So what's the love?
I think storage is a like a parent,
Oh, okay, I
uh,
see it. Yeah.
and I think Philia is like a
Yes,
brother.
storage. I see it. The type of love that's rooted in familiarity and dependency is a deep, enduring bond rooted in shared history of familiarity, inherited sense of belonging.
Okay. Come on now.
Look
Hey.
at you. Let me
Hey.
tell you something. So friendship is a love. There's casual relationships. That's love. When you out here, don't really know somebody, but you going off of your feelings. Feelings. That's love. I don't know in America why so many men are not comfortable sharing, saying the word love and really, being open, like really, showing emotional intimacy. Why do you have to go through all these levels to get to emotional intimacy with a black man? Tell me about that.
um. Well, when you're the person that is primarily the person that pursues, you set yourself up for rejection most of the time, and the other side, gets to do the rejecting. So
Mm.
it's a very different avenue. Have you ever been the aggressor or the person that you know went out to basically get the one you wanted, knowing that the rejection was possible?
It's kind of, sort of. I have.
So
Kind of.
that vulnerability is different, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah, it
yeah.
is. It is.
So you don't wanna put that out there and then that get dismissed or so it's a struggle, and then people take it as weakness
Yeah.
when you show you know a sense of compassion and empathy or sympathy or some form of that, and they take liberties that make you have to check them. So sometimes people they don't want to actually get to that point, so they don't give them a reason to even feel that way to begin with.
Yeah.
It's toxic on both sides, though. You know,
So, but do you feel like that's the role of a man, though? Isn't the man supposed to pursue?
of course.
Okay. So, but why is it that so many men don't want to do it anymore?
The movements have made it very dangerous. People get to have views that are, you know, can be character. They can demonize your character based on you being somebody that they're not attracted to versus somebody they are. You see somebody in the gym and you like them, and you give them that little stare, and depending on if you Tom Cruise or Beetlejuice, one's a creep and the other one's is wonderful. I can't believe he gave me butterflies.
Mhm.
And so when you can weaponize that, it puts people in a different situation because it's like, yeah, this is romantic only when you're, you know, Prince Charming. But it's not romantic when you're not. And so you got people who would, play hard to get with a person that they're attracted to, right?
Yeah.
But if you're not attracted, that's stalking. So, you know, it's been weaponized.
You're not
So it's
attracted to
better not to
stalking.
just
Wow.
have to put yourself in the arena at all.
And so it's a lot of men that just don't want to. So what about these men that just become so aggressive? Like, like it's some that just like, I can't, if I can't get you, then, F you. And, and then, like I saw a video of this guy. He just got out the car. He was so angry. Like he was so, you know,
So imagine going into a store where it was racism, right? You get in there and they got this attitude of what you want. We don't want you around here. The
mhm,
first thing you probably would do is, I don't want to buy y'all stuff anyway. It's raggedy. It
mhm.
puts you in a position of, and it's not, the right thing to do,
I
but
know, right. We just talking about it.
it puts you in a position of when you're rejected.
Mhm.
Uh, you have pride, ego, and things of that nature that you know you have to live with, and it affects you emotionally. So the same way with racism and things of that nature that affects us emotionally, it's like,
Mhm.
don't treat me like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, your stuff raggedy all of a sudden, and it's not just men, because when a relationship ends with a female, all of a sudden he broke his such and such a small, and he ain't nothing. It's the same thing on both sides. You tear down the person
Mhm.
because you feel rejected.
Mhm. Yes,
So
Sandy said radical rejection versus no thank you.
yeah,
Right. Right. Why is it? Why are we so different? That's what I don't understand. Why are men and women just so different? Like I don't understand. Like God's, it's like and then it can just go so left. It could just
we're
go.
meant to complement one another. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
You don't want. I don't want another dude. I mean, I don't. You know, I don't want a dude. I want somebody who's a female. And
Right.
so, you know, there's a. I don't. I don't want somebody who even acts masculine.
Hmm.
Like, I'm not interested in that.
Well, what about women that are strong? Like they know who they are. They got a lot of opinions. What are those women? Why are those women so intimidating for a lot of men?
It's
Why
not. It's
why
not.
are they called masculine?
It's not strong because you don't. I mean, even if it was another man that was very opinionated, you wouldn't want that either around you.
Mhm.
So it's like that's not strength. Strength strength doesn't come from just not knowing when to speak and when not to. Even if it was two men, like, you have to understand how to deal with people. So just being loud and obnoxious is not strength.
Mm.
And that it's not just a female thing. That's anybody. That's a child. That's a parent. You got to know when is the right time to say certain things. People have feelings, and it's not that you need to be silenced, but everything ain't meant for you to challenge either. And it's not just a. It has nothing to do with gender. So when you see some of these people out here, I'm too much for you, this, that, and the other. No, you really just obnoxious. Like, you know, nobody wants to deal with you. Not even your friends. Not your girlfriends,
Ooh,
not your boyfriends. Just
ooh.
obnoxious.
You just got everybody. You got a lot of people business right now. All right.
That's what it is, though. Because if I have a friend that's a male that is loud and speaks on everything, I'm gonna be like, I'm not trying to be around you all the time.
Yeah.
Everybody got an opinion. What make yours the one that need to be heard?
Yeah. Wow.
So,
You said that. You said
and
that.
also when you are really strong,
Hmm.
you have a quiet sense of yourself because you know that you've seen those people who their strength is not something that they say, it's in their action.
Hmm.
So, and that's for females and males. Like, when there's a quiet strength there,
Hmm.
you ain't gotta yell and scream and all this other stuff. Like, you see that with women. Like, Claire Huxtable was a prime example of that. You don't see
Hmm.
Claire yelling and screaming,
Hmm.
but she was there. And when she said something, the whole room stopped.
Hmm.
That's an elegance to that. There's a grace to that. and just being loud and obnoxious is not strength. It's not. It's rude. It's petty. It's disturbing. I mean, change the gender and see if you want to be around that person.
You know what? Like, when I like your character, your presence, even though I've never physically sat in front around you, it's like, it's one of those things that men need to have. More men need to have that calm strength. You know what I mean? Like that quiet, not easily angry type of strength. And so the thing is, like, that is the strength that a lot of women want, because that's how women learn, because a lot of women, I can't speak for men, but a lot of women that are, anxious like that, have attention seeking behaviors, they were clearly raised around other women that are really emotional. They've learned that from the other women that were around them. They didn't have a man to balance that out, right?
Right.
And so, do you believe that men are supposed to be teachers in their family?
Yeah, I mean that's the divine way. Uh, Not that you should be the only one, because teaching happens in a myriad of ways. It happens from directly sitting down talking. It happens from your actions.
Hmm.
I mean, you teach from a standpoint of every life experience,
Right.
but it is your job as a father to take the lead and in organizing things. And I think people misunderstand that concept. They confuse taking the lead with control, when in
Mhm.
actuality,
Mhm.
when you take the lead, you are the first to sacrifice and the person that gives up everything for everybody else. That's why
Mhm.
you're fit to lead. That's why the captain goes down with the ship. That's why Jesus washed the feet of his apostles.
Mhm.
He's the leader. He takes the lead by showing that everybody else comes first. And people who want to take the lead today have a flawed view of that. They want to be a boss, or somebody who controls the situation by putting their self first. And what you are is a narcissist. You're not a leader.
Oh, I can just sit with you and just talk. I didn't know you had. Look at you, Jay.
Jazzy, you gonna stop playing with me?
No, I'm serious. I'm really serious. I'm not trying to. I'm
I
not
just,
trying. I like men that have like substance to them. Like, you should have been a part of these discussions. Where you been? Like
hey,
my
look,
sis
hey, look.
Angie, I know she is loving you because she hasn't even come up. She ain't said nothing. And me and her, we just be, I already know. What's up, Raylene? What's up, sis?
But you know what's crazy?
What?
Everything that I'm saying is straight from the Bible.
I
All
know
that.
it. That's why I'm just like here listening. I know. I know. Okay, so the book talks about energy as one of the most important factors for us in considering relationships. What type of energy energizes you? Like, what type of energy you like, Jay?
Oh, feminine. I mean, somebody who you want to go out and do something for. Like
Mhm.
it's when somebody has that feminine energy, it's like, man, I want to give them the world, even if it costs me everything. When they don't feel like they deserve it, they just they're just grateful for whatever. It makes you want to do more for that person.
Okay, so for women that don't know what that is, because you hear that so much, like, what is feminine energy? What is that?
Um,
Because I thought
well,
we all women have it, right?
well, I mean, okay, take somebody who's not. Have you ever seen a man not act like a man, like he's acts like a woman?
Yes.
There's a certain dynamic to that, right? Like
Okay.
how they
Right.
move, how they talk, you know, how they exist. You can see that immediately. It's hard to describe that. I have to think about that one. How to really explain that. I don't say the wrong thing.
Well, I think, but you're just speaking for yourself though, so it's not. It's never wrong when it's about what you like. Because I was asking you about you.
Well, you can weaponize things today, so you gotta be careful. You
Okay,
know.
well, that's true.
So, uh, I have there's certain things I want to say, but I know I can't say it. But it's you see the difference between men and women in the larger standpoint of humans.
Hmm.
Only in our culture, I think it gets blurred because of what we've been through as black people.
Hmm.
So now we have certain things like strong black woman.
Hmm.
That concept doesn't go into other cultures. There's no strong white woman
I know what is that?
because the black men have been ripped away from the families and leaving the black woman to have to do things that she shouldn't have to do, but now in the position to survive, you got to do it. And it's like it broke apart the families. It goes back to slavery and stuff.
Yeah.
They tore the families apart
Hmm.
and put us in a consistent loophole of you know having to do certain things to survive. And it's not everybody, but it's definitely a major concept. And that's
That
not
part,
this
Angie.
conversation, though.
That part, Angie. Go ahead. I'm listening to you. I was just commenting on what Angie said. That part. I just
Well,
okay, so going back to, what energizes you. Okay, it says it says people who have achieved extraordinary things can be energizing. People who know exactly what they want in that person can be energizing. And you can be energized by the God they serve, especially if it's the same God. The people who they have around them can also energize you. What he also says is people who learn to live with their inner demons at the same time can be energizing. People who struggle against the odds, people who are willing to give everything to pursue a dream can be energizing. Silent heroes are energizing.
so I
Um,
think you're saying this, basically another word could be inspiring, right?
yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
hmm, yeah, yeah. Well, he said that energizes him, but I'm just saying it for for the reason for communicating with all of everybody. You know, it can, but I can relate to some of these too.
Hmm.
Okay, how do people in your intimate circle? Okay, so let me here's a question, and this is a question for people in the comments too. How do the people in your intimate circle, your immediate circle, energize you? Like, what do they do for you to get you going?
I know with my people, they check on me, make sure I'm good. When I'm going through something, I can vent to them.
Hmm.
Tell them my problems. They give me, real time correction,
Hmm.
things that they think I need to do better, but they also recognize the things that I am doing, and
Hmm.
that's big. When somebody sees the things you're doing, and I think people take that for granted how much it is for somebody to understand,
Mm.
not fix a problem, but just understand what's going on.
Mhm.
And honestly, you can relate that to racism. Like when we talk to people who are not in the culture, we're not talking for that person to fix the problem. We're talking for that person to have understanding of the problem because
Mm.
you can't fix it. So to understand it, if you can understand it, we good. And
Mhm.
so that does a lot for people when they're when you're encouraging somebody is to really understand why they're making the decision they're making, and that's a form of empathy, sympathy that
Mhm.
helps you to realize that you're not doing nothing for no reason.
Mhm.
It matters. So
Mhm.
when you have people in your circle that actually think you matter, and they look forward to hearing your thoughts and ideas, and they correct you when they think you're wrong, and they appreciate the things you do. Hey, you got a reason, a purpose in life for waking up. You know.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I mean, Angie, what you think? Who energizes you? What are the people that energize you? Raylene, are people in the chat? What are the people that energize you? I was thinking about
And of course,
because
God goes without saying, that should be automatic.
wait, say that again. The last part.
Not that God should be automatic without saying. I would imagine we all understand that one.
Yeah, exactly. And then people that have that God in them, right? Is that what you're relating to too?
Yeah, the ones that reflect His qualities for sure.
Yes, definitely. I have people from various aspects of my life. I've been places, I've traveled a little bit, and so I've got people. I've been able to hold on to people from different areas, right? But what I also have that I'm grateful for is I have friends that I have been friends with since my childhood. A lot of people don't have, unless they're family, people in their lives that they still have from their childhood. I don't have a lot of them from elementary school. I have one that I was neighbor. We just reconnected. We didn't maintain the relationship all the while. We reconnected. We were neighbors and we reconnected. And then I have my neighbor from she and I, we've never not connected, but we don't talk that much. And I really want to, we were talking about how we need to get to, talk and communicate more often. I just saw her over last weekend because we went to high school, middle school, and high school together. But like my people from middle school, like I have the first friend that I met when I started my middle school. She and I have maintained, of course, there are times we don't talk, but she and I have maintained this relationship just all this while, and watching her kids grow up. And, I wasn't really present because I wasn't living in the same state to really be there physically with her as her kids grew up, but I always knew them and, they know who I am and all of that. But just she and I communicating has been just essential. And I have other friends that I may be closer than I am with her. But just having that long history of friendship, where people like, when you talk about people love you unconditionally, they see all your flaws, they see all your growth, and they still got your back versus people that are conditional. They may get upset with you over the pettiest little thing and never talk to you again, versus these people that have been there, they may have, okay, I may need a break, but they not gone. So
Yeah.
that is so important. Those are the people that energize me because even though I'm not always tapped in, when we tap in, it's like laughter, it's like prayer, it's like a conversation about God. We touch on everything. And I am so, so grateful. Hey, I am so, so grateful for them in my life. And they energize me, so and then like I'm at a season now where which is weird from any other season I've been in, where I don't have a lot of close friends like physically here, and but I'm always connecting with people that I connect more with my people 10 years plus, 5 years plus on a regular consistent basis, and none of them live in Georgia. And so but I feel the energy from them. I feel the connection from them. And I am so grateful for them. And they don't really drink, like it says, like the next question is, how do those same people drain your energy? The people that energize you. They don't really drain my energy the way the people that are 5 or or maybe 8 years less than, as long as I've been in Georgia this year 8 years. So people under 8 years, they don't drain my energy like those people do, the newer people. Would you say that? So how do those people you talked about, do they drain your energy? Do they ever drain your energy?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We get into, and it's like, man, what are you talking about? But we always come back. We gotta put our egos to the side and our,
Yeah,
you know, you gotta show love, and love always conquers. Love always endures.
it does.
For sure.
It does. Look at you. Look at all this Louisiana energy, honey.
Yeah, man.
What
Yeah.
is it about y'all? I don't know what it is about y'all. Ooh, I talked about you guys in several other interactions. Of course, the lives. I talk about y'all in other lives, but I talk about y'all in real life. And I'm just like, I met these guys, and oh my goodness, they are just. It was nothing. I could hang out with y'all all night long.
This is the Southern hospitality that you like. You don't care about me.
That is not true. It is, but it's definitely that Southern high. You know what? And I can't even say because I've met guys in Georgia, and I don't get that unless they're from Georgia. I rarely meet guys from Georgia in Georgia, and I don't feel that vibe. A few of them, they've changed a lot because I don't know. Maybe they feel like they had to adjust with all the changes that happen in this major city now. That they have to adjust to that. But people that need to have their roots and kept their roots, it's just like it's unmatched.
Well, I'm gonna tell you this: the one thing that you probably are feeling with the little group we got is our all of us are 100%. You guys, any of them, individually or in a group, it doesn't matter. You ask them what the most important thing in their life is, it's gonna be the same answer for all of them. And I'm gonna let you do that. I'm not even gonna tell you, but it will be the same answer for all of them if you ask them, what's the most important thing in your life? And you ask them that question whenever you get a chance, and I guarantee you it's gonna be the same. And that's why you feel that feeling most likely because of
Mm.
that answer.
And you ain't about to tell me.
Nah, do your homework.
Do my homework. Okay. I don't mind. I don't mind because I know I'm gonna be getting with y'all at some point. So very soon. So I will definitely be asking that soon.
And look, if you want to make it real simple, ask them in one word. In one word, what's the most important thing in your life? In one word. There you go.
And
Uh,
should this be a question that we ask most men though?
It should, but it won't be because they don't have what the group of people I'm with. They don't have the same outlook on life. So, but it really should be everybody, not just men. But it's not. So,
And that's the problem with relationships.
hmm. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to give you the answer, but
I already think I know the answer. So that's why I said what I said. I said what I said.
oh man,
Okay, so the first level, so we're gonna get into the different levels of intimacy. Okay, so the first level of intimacy is the level of cliche. The second level of intimacy is the level of facts. The third level is opinions. Fourth is hopes and dreams. Fifth is feelings. Six is faults, fears, and failures. Seven is legitimate needs. So the author of this book says that okay, so when we go through this book, and it's so crazy because this is like chapter, and I think I said this a long time ago. It's about 20 some chapters to this book. And we are literally in the middle of this book. So we just got into the second part where we can finally get through the levels of intimacy. And so we covered what intimacy isn't. Common interests are not enough. The storm is coming. So if you're in relationships, no matter what type of relationship it is, be prepared that there's going to be a bump in the road in your relationship, whether it be with your friends, whether it be with your family, whether it be with your significant other, and that's why that intimacy and those connections need to be important to you all. That's why it's important to build that relationship, understand what drives that relationship, and what you need to do to maintain that relationship, because the storm is coming, and what are you going to do to make sure that your relationship withstands the test of time? And then the last one, the opposite of love is hate. What do you think about that? The opposite of love is hate.
that's a fact.
Hmm.
I mean, also the opposite of love could be apathy. The opposite of love could be cynicism. I mean, it's love. It could be impatience. It could be holding grudges. I mean,
Yeah, the indifferences, right?
all different types of versions of hate.
Right. He says the indifferences is the most destructive force at work in most modern lives and relationships. Where there's indifference, there is no passion. Indifference destroys our energy and enthusiasm for the great pursuit of life. There is indifference. There is no sense of purpose. Non purpose is the purpose of indifference. There is non purpose is the purpose of indifference.
That's apathy.
Yeah. What do you when you're not kikiing, when you're not, I know you're an artist. So, but in order to maintain your artistry, do you think that you like study love, or you spend time in understanding what love is?
100%.
Hmm.
1,000%.
So is that the foundation for art? For art?
For art?
Hmm.
Don't know. No, I wouldn't say the foundation for art because there's a lot of people study, the Bible
Hmm.
is what I study. And
Hmm.
a lot of people
That's
study that
love,
to
right?
make it creative. Um, the foundation for art, I think, is creativity and life experience.
Hmm.
Uh, but no, you have to study love. And I'm sure your audience know God is love, right? So he's a personification of that. So if you're not studying about him, you don't understand love.
And that's why no matter what book we're reading, no matter what we're discussing, the book is always like the background, but the essence of every topic that I ever have is God. So I can't do anything. If you ever look at any of my videos, even if I'm having some random raunchy conversation, I'm still gonna bring God up because He's the essence of who I am. And I put adult conversations in my book club because as adults we go from left to right. We talk about the journey that got us to where we are. So in talking about that journey, at some point the conversation may go left, in order to show how we got right. So it's important to be able to freely have that discussion and not have little kids come in and out. So that's why I try to recommend that, with my discussion, we're gonna talk bold, we're gonna talk. So that's what I do. And so, like you said, you talked about love is the answer. So the answer, the cure for indifference is love, and that's what the author of this book says. That indifference represent soulless living. The fruit is the soul of living. So we got to get to the soul. Go ahead. I know you're gonna say something, Jay.
No, I'm listening. No.
Okay. So I just wanted to cover the opposite of hate. Okay, so we're gonna get into. So I like so we're supposed to, as we go through this book, we're supposed to look at three relationships. And he's the artist, the author says to not just consider, your primary relationship. Okay, I'm gonna talk about my kids, my son. I mean, my kids, my man, and whatever, and my grandma. No, you need to look at um maybe your child, maybe your significant other, because we all, if you're in a relationship, that always should always be a focal point. If you have children, you definitely want your children to be a focal point, but they said if you have several kids, you should pick one child for this discussion, for this journey. Okay, one person, not a group of people. And you want to look at these seven levels of intimacy with that particular person. And then once you finish that, then you go back and start again and then go with the other person. So so the author says that this book can be used as a tool for every single person in your relationship. What do you think about that?
Oh yeah. I mean, if he's talking about love, yeah. Any discussion about love is going to help in any aspect of life for sure.
Yeah. So he says the seven levels of intimacy is a model. The model doesn't live and breathe as you and the people do. It's a model, okay? And it's not a perfect model, it's an imperfect model. Models are powerful because they simplify the most complex situations that we encounter in our lives and allow us to see them with clarity so that we can be understood. The seven levels of intimacy is a model. It's not perfect, but it is powerful and it has deep meaning and it will change forever the way you view your relationships. So number one, relationships are rarely confined to any single level. For example, if in a mistake, I'm sorry, in the mistake of to identify a relationship as the fifth level of relationships or the third level of relationships, your relationship will experience many of the seven levels every day. The only exception is a rule to the rule are casual secondary relationships, such as you would have with a grocery store clerk or a bank teller. So we don't need to identify those type of people when we look at this. We just need to look at the people, the primary people and the secondary people that we have day to day, consistent, ongoing interactions with. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So number two, the seven levels of intimacy are not a task to be completed and graduated from. Don't graze over each of these levels. Okay. It says you may experience seven levels, and I hope you do, but that doesn't mean the job is done if you fall back into a lethargic distraction or indifference that destroys those relationships. All right. So what he wants you to do is do your best to get through the levels with each person. If you can't, that's fine. If the relationship somehow is broken, that doesn't necessarily mean you didn't try. All right. Number three is important to know that not all relationships deserve to experience all seven levels. Okay, so although he wants you to go through every level, consider every level. Some people just like, and that's sad that you can't do that, but it's real.
Mm-hmm.
I can't put that much work in this relationship. Like Jay, I can't say how far we're gonna go in these levels of the seven levels.
Well, I mean, if you are trying to have a relationship with somebody, right, you're gonna
Mhm.
do the work. And if you're not trying to have that relationship, you're not. You know what I'm
Exactly.
talking about?
Yeah. Okay. So I don't know. I had to see what you do, how you act, and how much work I'm gonna put into these seven levels with you. Okay. Okay. Number four says you cannot rush intimacy. You cannot force the seven levels. These things don't happen on a timetable, nor are they rigid. The process is liquid and ever changing. I like that. I like liquid. The process is liquid. It's fluid. Okay, Jay. So if it's not just me doing it and you ain't doing it with me, then it can't work. It got to be fluid. And I see where at some point, oh look, I'm doing all this work. Jay ain't doing no work. I'm doing all the work.
Hey, Casey and JoJo taught us one thing: don't rush.
Don't rush.
You know
That's
what I'm
that's
saying?
that's
What
important.
you said the other day, people use their hands too fast. You
Yeah,
gotta
they
slow
do.
down.
Look at you listening to me and remember what I be saying.
Come on now.
Okay. The model has rules. I like that. I like. What do you think about rules? Do you like rules?
Absolutely. Rules stop you from being a problem to other people.
But why men don't like rules? It's some men out here they don't like rules.
Yeah, unfair rules, maybe.
Hmm.
That's a problem. But I'm pretty sure they want the stoplight to be working when they come to a crowded intersection. Pretty
Hmm.
sure they want a speed limit on the front of their street with their kids playing outside.
I just
But nobody wants a unfair rule that applies to one person but not the other. That's what happens.
that's
People
what
try to
happens.
try
You
to
picked up all
weaponize.
these gems.
Telling you this is not mine. This is in the Bible.
I know that, but they're in your heart. They're just not, like you're not reading them from the Bible. It's one thing to have read this, like ate this fruit, and it's a part of like when you spit it out, I can that tastes like that fruit. I can tell it.
Remember?
Yeah, it's like in your backwash. You know that backwash?
Take care, Chris.
Got it in your back. You burped it out. I smell it. Okay. So again, we need to identify three. relationships, okay? And the reason that some of us have the tendency to focus on positive, so they're saying that, one of these relationships should be someone you don't have the greatest relationship with. So I have somebody in mind I can use for one of these.
Exactly.
Right. Okay, but they're not a primary person though. They're just secondary.
Gotta stop that.
Yeah, but it's the truth. I mean, it's the truth. They just, 'cause, you try to be primary, and you know what? You the tertiary, fourthary. Okay,
Various three.
because you cutting up. I text you, you ain't responding back. I could just tell you the story. Nobody knows.
Actually, a lot of people know, and they've been through similar things.
I just can't wait. Can we get to the wedding? My son's wedding. I just want to get out of the day to day because I work as a therapist. I work with parents all the time, and I tell people this person is gonna be in your life for the rest of your life. The rest. And I saw that even with my mom and dad. My mom and dad divorced when I was a child. So at some point they didn't have to talk anymore because I was an adult. But I realized they still because of who I am, there were conversations I had to have with my mom about my dad. And it was so crazy because I remember one day my auntie was like, don't talk to your mom about your dad. Talk to me. She said, you ain't got to. And I'm like, huh? Like I could tell, like for my mom to have her sister to come talk to me and tell her to leave me alone. I don't want to hear about her daddy. It was like, I guess it was taking her back to a time, but and that showed me, and now that I'm an adult and I can see everything, the other parent, they don't go away.
That's why it's important to uh, have a uh, loving relationship with everybody, whether or not that person is the person that you need to spend the rest of your life with, in a sense of like marriage mate. If you have created a life together and you have a child,
Mm-hmm.
every interaction you have affects that person, that child,
Yeah.
because that's still their mama, their daddy. And you talking bad about that person or saying, things that's disingenuous about that person has an effect on that child.
It
And
does.
the security that comes from knowing that your parents are going to do whatever it takes to make sure you're straight is strengthened when they have that resolve together. Like, we gotta be together, but hey, best believe this: if it come down to you, we definitely together. And children need that security to thrive. I mean, a lot of people, they move through life selfish. They worry about them, and it's like that's why you're really not fit to lead, because you put yourself before those who are supposed to be the important things. And as long as you keep putting yourself first, you're not going to be first in life. You're going to constantly end up on the back end of the wrong thing. You put other people first, things will come to you that you didn't even expect.
Mm. Come on through there, Angie. What do you mean by what did you say? Those are not men. What do you mean those are not men? Tell me that. Tell me what you mean by that, sis. Oh, she ready to come on up. Finally. Finally, yeah, yeah.
Hey,
Hey.
I forgot. He said something, and I was responding saying
I know
that's
what it is.
how mature men move. That's not every adult male. I can't remember what he said, but
Um,
it was good, whatever it was.
It was
you're talking
good.
about meaning rules.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what it was.
See, I be listening, Andrew.
Because some men just want rules that work in their favor, and the men that you spoke of, that scripture that says, when I became a man I put away childish things, those are the mature men. that you were speaking of. I was just saying, that's not always the case for the brothers. Going on mute, thank you.
She make me sick. We be praying for mature men to come in our group. And it's
Can I
gonna
ask
now
you
that
a
they
question?
hear she is not, and she gonna be talking about it later.
Well, I think that's why, like, I'm really,
I know.
I was, I was here laughing because I'm like, wow, I get to just relax today.
And just listen. That's
Because
how I
most,
want to be. But
because
I gotta
most
keep
of the
talking so
time,
Jake can start keep talking.
most of the time I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm about to drop him. What is he talking about? Mute, disconnect, delete, delete.
Can I ask you a question, Angel?
Sure.
So, do you think it's ever one sided in relationships? Like, because we always, as a gender, we always talk about the opposite gender. But do you ever think it's one sided, or you think it's always both? Like when it comes to the maturity factor of rules, like I see it with both genders. Like they
Oh
try
yeah.
to manipulate rules to their own benefit.
Oh yeah. I think it's both.
Okay.
It's been my experience that we learn at different times, we mature differently, and some in different areas, right? So um if I was the person who I am now when I was married, and if he was the person he was after our marriage probably would have lasted. But he had a lot of knowledge in areas that I didn't. And to me, it seemed like he was trying to, well, no, he was definitely trying to control me. Um, but I just didn't understand it. I didn't understand that. I didn't understand him being a man, him attempting to lead. And because I didn't understand it, I reacted rather than responding. And that caused a whole tailspin of issues. So when I did realize and I started changing, um, our marriage is done. Like I was tired.
Can I,
And it just, so now I'm a completely different person. I've learned a lot. I want to, can I say something before I lose it? You spoke about people knowing when to be quiet, as far as it relating to men and women. Just, we could go ahead with what you were saying, but can we go back to that whenever you finished? I just didn't want to lose that. But go ahead with what you were saying, please. I missed. Did I answer your question?
well, I was going, yeah, yeah, but I was going to go into another part of it, but I don't want you to lose
Okay.
what you want to go
No, no,
into.
no. Yeah,
Say what you
long
want to
as
say.
you remember, you could go ahead.
I wrote it down so we don't forget.
Okay, yeah,
Okay.
I'm good.
So my question was about to be, what exactly? Because I hear people say this, but what is control in a relationship to you? Like when you say he was trying to control you, what? Explain that to me. Like, what does that actually look like?
Okay, so what it looked like in our relationship, whenever we met, um, I lived life as a Christian. He was a non-traditional Hebrew Israelite. Um, he wasn't a radical. He was borderline, but he he wasn't radical. And I didn't know. I had no earthly idea, and we dated for years. He went to church with me, whole nine. Whenever we got married and I moved to Maryland, um, we were in the same house, living to me a great life. And it was time for the first feast. I think it was Feast of Tabernacles, right? And oh my gosh, he just like threw that on me and was like, "So we're observing the feast, and this is what you gotta do, and this is what you." No, 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 no. It was a feast of unleavened bread because he was like, "All this stuff got to get out the house. We can't have leavening in the house." And I was like, "Hold up! Like what? I just went grocery shopping. Like, what are you talking about?" And he was like, "No, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, and we're going to observe the Sabbath, and you got to be in the house by a certain time on Friday night. And if you're not, blah, blah." And all of this stuff came at me at one time, and I was so overwhelmed. And I'm like, hold up. So I gotta be in. I can't go to work. Like you knew, I worked 2 jobs. I can't. I gotta be in the house before sundown on Friday. I can't do anything on Saturday. We got to throw all the food away by the day of the. It was just really overwhelming, and when I could not comprehend, because who I am, I'm not just doing stuff because you say do it, especially when it comes to my spirituality. Because I was like, I'm not going to, for you. So I put my brakes on, and I'm like, until I understand what we're doing here, like I'm gonna have to just chill. Like I'm not doing all of this at one time. And I literally mean it came at me at one time. And so he told me this happened throughout the course of a week. He was like, if you're not going to abide by what I say, then you can get out. Now, I want you to understand that I came from North Carolina with my 2 first graders. Okay. My mom was deceased. My brother had just moved to Atlanta. I left everything in North Carolina. I knew nothing in Maryland but my jobs, my 2 jobs that I had. I had been here all of 2 months, and I had to go find somewhere to live. And so when I say controlling, that's what I mean. Like it's my way or the highway.
Right. No, that makes sense. Um, your situation is a lot different than a lot of other people who try to use that phrase.
Mm-hmm.
You just described is 100% accurate. Um, but I've heard other people use that phrase, and they want to dress in a certain way and go out to the club on the weekends, and it's like, your man is like, man, what we doing? Like, no, man, don't go outside with that. What are you talking about?
I wish he would have. I wish that would have been the case. I would
Yeah,
have been like, my man, my man, my man. I'm staying at a
exactly.
house.
Okay.
Right, right. But you've heard that before, right? With people who they
Absolutely.
consider that controlling or
Absolutely.
things of that nature. Whereas, like, look, you don't always have to agree with the person taking the lead to help it succeed. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, even if you feel like, you know, uh, I think we should do this,
Mm-hmm.
and the person is like, well, I thought about that, and I feel like this might be the better way. As a person that's there to help things function, my attitude should be, okay, so what can I do to make this succeed? But I
Yep.
think a lot of people's attitude is, if you want to do it your way, I'm gonna show you why your way ain't
Yep.
better than mine,
Yep.
and I'm gonna do whatever I can to sabotage your way, just so I can say I told you so or something like that. And it's like that. That's toxic because in any situation where somebody's taking a lead, whether you're at work or parenting a child, or it could be some type of game that you're playing, it doesn't matter. Taking the lead comes with having to make a decision. And as the leader or the person taking the lead, you should consider everybody first, 100%. But you also have to make decisions where they may not understand everything that's considered. Because I've been in that situation where it's like, the person I'm with is like, I think we should do this. And I'm like, I understand exactly why you think we should do this. but there's things you don't know about this that I do, because I know these people or something like that. So, man, it's not the right move. We need to move like this. And now it's like it's a constant attitude because it's not what they wanted. And it's like you just made the situation fail, and now you're looking at it like, oh well, you trying to control everything I'm doing. I'm like, that's not even remotely the case. It's people have to make decisions, and you can't have two steering wheels in your vehicle. You can't. You know, even if you got a better way of getting to the location, once you turn left and this person turns right, you're not getting to the location. And so I just seen that statement controlling be weaponized improperly. But people like you who actually go through something, I think that's the problem is like, man, I hate when people try to hold something that's not what a real person going through. Like your situation needs attention, not this nonsense.
Amen.
And thank you for that. But I've been guilty of that too. There were times when it wasn't that deep, and I was like, no, I don't want to. I don't want to do that. Why can't we do it my way? I'm used to doing it like this. Why can't we do it like this? And he would say something like, if you just listen, you just don't want to listen. I'm like, I ain't got to listen to you. You're not the boss. You're not the boss of me. I'm grown. I can do why communication go both ways. So I mean, there were times when I was the problem. I can't even lie. And and you absolutely right. It was literally like nonsense things where that analogy was good with the steering wheel. It just ain't going nowhere. And he recently passed away, but before he passed, like we sat down. He was in the hospital, and we sat and we were talking and just going back over some things. And I had the opportunity to tell him, I was like, I messed up. I was like, it was a lot of things that I just didn't know. And coming from a single parent household where the only men I saw in relationship were, well, my uncles. And that was so few and far between. That was only when we went to their house, and the stuff I saw was insane. Like my uncle required my aunt to cook a certain meal every single day. We would go out to eat and she still had to cook. I was like, ain't no way. Like this woman worked every day. And I mean, he did too, but I'm like, even when we go out to eat, she got to come home. And it was pinto beans. You know how hard it is to season pinto beans and how long it take them to cook. So it was things like that in my mind, I was like, when I do get married, like a man is not going to control me and make me cook and and it was just, I went in wanting marriage, but jaded too in so many areas. And my mom, I think, was forced to be all things. And it was to the point where she never said, I don't need a man. But her attitude and tone was definitely, I don't want another man. Because her relationships were so toxic and abusive that she was just, when she figured it out on her own, she was just like, we just gonna do this over here by ourselves. It's safer this way. So all I saw was that woman out there getting it. That's all. So
Right.
I became that woman. And it was never a thing where I don't need a man, I don't want a man, but it was a thing where I don't know how a man is supposed to be a man in a relationship. I don't know what that looks like. And I
Mm.
don't know how I'm supposed to be in a relationship. All I know is how to survive.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's
you know
all I knew.
what's interesting about that is that like it's not a one thing. It's a lot of dynamics happening at the same time. That's why it's overwhelming and confusing. Because like if you think about it, if you had, let's say you was at work and it's 6 women, right?
Hmm.
And you have a project to take care of.
Hmm.
Somebody has to take the lead, right?
Yep. Yep.
And now when that somebody starts making decisions, take the men completely out of it. If that person is making decisions and people are not working along with the decisions, can that project succeed?
You said if say the if part again. You kind of went out a little bit when that
If
you
if
start
the if
dancing that music.
When the
let's
blessing be
say
blessing.
shout out Bad Cook, my boy
Look out
Bad
here
Cook.
giving out all these
I
blessings.
know. Thank you, Bad
Right,
Cook.
it's love.
Thank
Hey,
you.
hey, if y'all get
I
a
want
chance,
him to
talk
come
to
up
him.
and talk because I know
Hey,
he in a
look,
relationship
hey,
too. But go
he's one of
ahead.
them ones I said. But if you were if you were the person that was put over a project and it was 4 other women
Mhm.
working with you, when you start taking you know delegating and
Mhm.
making decisions, the minute somebody starts to work against it, your project is
Mhm.
gonna is gonna fail, right? And
Mhm.
so you have that dynamic which you can erase men or women and just the relationship dynamic, you know what I'm saying? It could be
Mhm.
all men, the same concept. So you have that dynamic of learning how to follow,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Whenever somebody is taking the lead, that's a skill to know
Yes.
how to follow. And then on top of that, you also have uh, a perpetuated system that's working against you, right?
Mhm.
Where you are now suffering, and all of us really, from a dynamic that people act like is over, but is very much not so. And
Exactly.
now you have young people learning from a standpoint of, because I mean, it's rarely what you say, you're going to see what you do. So
Yeah.
we see examples of people who are, why is mama cooking, every day for this person? It sounds like it's abusive. This is, I don't never want this. But then you actually have an innate desire, like you say, to be with somebody.
Mhm.
So now you're in a situation where you want, but you're going to sabotage it because
Yep.
you have values that you have made solid in your own heart that you're not going to do.
Yep.
And and that right there is, I think that was the goal to begin with of Jim Crow.
Yeah.
But the fast forward to today is like we have a lot of broken relationships because the man hasn't learned how to lead properly, and the wife doesn't know how to follow properly. And now both of them are doing things improperly because he's supposed to be sacrificing for her, and she's supposed to be trying to make whatever he's trying to do succeed. And that's how love is, because love doesn't look out for its own interests. It looks out for
Mhm.
the interests of the other person. So now they're looking out for their own interests selfishly. And guess what? Now we could do bad all by ourselves.
Hey.
That's the issue. But I'm gonna let my man Bad Cook in there because my man got the same viewpoint. Like I say, all my thoughts come from the scriptures, and that's my man. He's one of them people that keep me in line. You feel me?
I know, Bad Cook. I don't know if you go ahead. If you want to jump in, jump on in.
No, no, no. If you gonna talk, teach. If you gonna listen, learn, man. You
No,
you
we
talk.
we
You,
we want
you
to.
talking, brother. You talking, brother.
No,
Y'all talking.
no.
I appreciate it, man. I got 3 years. I told y'all. I talk too much anyway.
And
I
that's
gotta,
me.
I gotta, I gotta listen more.
No, no, no,
Listen
not
to
in
more.
this live. Mm-mm, mm-mm,
Well,
mm-mm.
let me engage him. Let me engage him, Zaz.
Okay.
My man, me and Cook, we've been through a lot of ups and downs with learning things about relationships, like
Mhm.
with
For
people on the
sure.
outside of us and with each other. And it's like, would you say, Cook, that what would be? Uh, I hate to ask it like that because I told Zazzy to do this. What?
But go ahead.
No, no, no. I'm gonna let you do that later. But Cook, what would be the most important thing to a relationship to you?
Communication. Communicating, talking, listening. The whole process. Whatever communications involve, um, is extremely important. It's a make or break in a relationship. Because with communication, just like when you learn about the scriptures, it's knowledge, then you gain understanding, then you gain wisdom. But when I'm talking to my wife, when we're talking to our spouses, we want to have knowledge. We already know them, but then do we understand them? And we're ever changing, especially a woman. There are certain things that they go through in life that's ever changing. And it's on this side of imperfection. So when you're listening and you're trying to understand, showing empathy, and then that interchange is an interchange because she's gonna have that respect for you and feed off of how you're listening to her and giving into um uh, like I said, the interchange, giving into her needs and wants and concerns and showing true concern. And then you have wisdom to make better decisions when dealing with your loved one.
Mm-hmm.
Has having children changed your view on how you deal with relationships?
That's a great question. Um, yes, because you know me, I say a lot of things are the great unknown. There's no script for being a parent. Uh, Zazzy may have things she knows. Angie may have things she know you. And we can feed off each other and kind of kick knowledge about it. But when you it's on the job training, it's on the job understanding
Mm-hmm.
that you can't really be prepared for. But we know love is the leading way. So
Yeah.
when you have that love leading, and you also listen to the concerns of your wife, or your spouse, you most of them weren't raised the same way. Have different beliefs on child rearing and things like that. But when you get married, no matter what, there's a measure of tribulation for both parties, husband and wife. So when you understand the gravity of that, you can approach it with a clear mind. You can approach it with a right attitude, not expecting perfection, not expecting to everything to be peachy all the time. Being willing to adapt, and adaptability is also a part of communication.
That's a fact. Let me ask you this: what
Just
changes you had to make
just had this, my
with
brother.
your own self to
No,
be a
I'm good, bro.
better?
Appreciate it, bro.
What changes you had to make to be a better person that takes the lead?
Man. Um.
Um,
No, what? No, no. I'm not trying to get too heavy. Again, listening to what people know or not. All of the no. It's a
is he
trouble
breaking up?
situation. I watched that woman. Oh, am I my bad? Yeah, I am. Huh? Hold on. Can you hear me or no? It's still the same.
Yeah, we can hear
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Okay. No, just witnessing that woman over the last 6 years, um, push out, go through this traumatic thing of giving life to our daughters. It's just it just made me respect her more. Her bravery, her the mindset. I know women deal with postpartum and things of that nature, but it just made me want to be a better helper. But of course, want to listen. Like I said, just listen more, man, because I can I can attentively pay attention to her concerns, and we can feed off each other, and it helps me know as a head what I have to do next.
Come on as the head. Come on as the head. I love that.
You see, you see.
Yes. I have never heard a man say that in a sentence. Yes. Yes. That's me and Angie. Angie on me because okay, so I've been on this journey. I'm asking God to bring my man, right? So, but I want to be a better woman. So all of the books I reread a lot of books about love and relationships, and we talk about the Lord. All of our books have a biblical theme to them, but we've been trying to get like we read this book on how to love the black man. So I was trying to draw these black men in. We ain't getting no black men. It was always me and Angie, and a few people come through here, but like we just want to hear from y'all. And Ace, I thank you for coming on. Ace, you remind me, and I haven't had a chance to tell you this. You look so much like my pastor. I don't know if y'all are related. I don't know if you have any family in Birmingham, but you look like this man I used to go to church. He used to be the pastor at this church. And so you talk like him, your mannerisms is like him. You look exact. Y'all look like brothers. But anyway. Ace, I don't know if you're a pastor, but I know you love the Lord because I've heard you talk about it. Ace, is he able to talk? I don't know if he's able to talk. He might be busy. Okay, you do. Are you able to speak? Because I would like to hear about. So we're talking about the 7 levels of intimacy, and then from that, of course, we've gone into other chapters and other topics related to relationships. But and I want to hear from you, Bad Cook, too. Like, so we talk about there are 4 major levels to major intimacy levels in relationship. It's physical, is intellectual, is emotional, and then there's spiritual. What level other than physical, is very important to your relationship and why? Or anything y'all want to say too, but I wanted to ask that question. And then we got to get
Uh,
back to Angie's question too.
okay, real quick, I just want to speak to everyone, and I hope that everybody's having a super safe Saturday, with everything that's going on.
Yeah.
But I was just listening to the brothers that they're talking, and
No.
they are exactly correct. Communication is the key to life. I say to life because that's what anything on the job, you can um, hold things in, and the boss is doing something or saying something that's offensive, and you just hold it in, never go respectfully to your supervisor and to let them know things can start tumbling down, make you uncomfortable on the job. In your home, if you're not communicating, you're just holding things in, it's going to tumble down as well because you can be thinking one thing and you can be assuming one thing, it can be totally different. But unless you communicate with the other people involved, you guys are going to take your own interpretation of what's going on, and it may be completely incorrect. And so many times, as men, they say we don't like to ask for directions, and that's true. You're guilty of that. But through that communication, you can get that, you can gain that direction. You can learn how to love her best. And like the brother said, it is interchangeable because the Bible gives us the script. I put that in the chat. The Bible gives us a script. Yes, the woman should be humble to the man, but as she is humble, you follow me as I follow Christ. So if I'm not living Christ like, then you don't have to follow me. So I must be demonstrating those fruits of the spirit. I must be humble. I must show love. I must show compassion. I got to be doing all those things in order for you to follow me. If I'm not doing that, I can't just quote scriptures and I'm not trying to live that for you and for her. So just if so she humble herself to you, then you must hold her up with your own hand, like and
Mhm.
love her like Christ loved his church.
Mhm.
And when I talk about church, I'm not talking about the mortal builder. I'm talking about um, the human being just standing right before you. That's his church. We are his church. So when he say I'm coming back for the church without a spot or a wrinkle, he's not talking about the building, y'all. He's talking about us as individuals. So
Mhm.
this is why you have to treat her like Christ would treat his church, and he loved us. He
Mhm.
died for us. You know, he rose again, but he was willing to go make the ultimate sacrifice for us. So those are the kinds of things that you should be doing for your significant others. And
Mhm.
in exchange for that, you being that protector, you being that provider, you listening to her, you upholding her, she is going it's not a problem for her to cook every day. She won't have a problem with it because she knows she got somebody who loves her, and it
Mhm.
is her unreasonable service to give him something back.
Mhm.
So if it was a battle, we are the warriors. We're going out. We're fighting. She's on the tower. She's looking out, saying how many enemies are coming. Get ready. This is the type of weapon you need to survive this attack. So she's right there with us. And so the brother is correct. It is interchangeable. Yeah. So communication is the key.
Yes. Yes. Angie? Angie like this.
Yeah, I'm.
Can I
It's
also
a
add this?
lot.
Jay, you know you
One
can
thing I
add. Go ahead.
one thing I will say is, um, we as
Oh. Jay, you went on mute unless you was trying to go on mute. Jay, were you trying to go on mute?
You might have had an issue with his
Okay.
connection.
Okay.
They was working on this house, and their
Okay.
Wi-Fi was up and down sometimes.
can y'all hear me?
Oh.
Oh, they go.
Okay.
Okay. What I was saying was, our um, who we are shouldn't necessarily be conditional. Um, I think that's a issue too in relationships. We make things conditional.
Mm.
You know, you can stay in my house as long as you do what I say, right?
Mm.
That's a child parent relationship. When
Mhm.
you are actual, people who are on the same level as far as the dynamic of a married couple. Um, and I mean, if y'all don't agree, let me know. But I I try, me personally, not to make me doing good for the person that I love to be conditional
Yeah.
based on if they do it back. Because who I am is who I am.
Yeah.
Whether or not they do the right thing or not, I am going to do what I'm supposed to do toward them. Do that make sense?
It does.
So you're speaking on just the obligation, the so just highlighting what Zazzy was asking even before Ace started speaking. You're speaking on like spirituality is everything because no matter what my name is, I'm bad cook. I'm nothing without my relationship, my spiritual relationship, because that's what molds me. That's what makes me malleable in the hands of my creator.
Mm.
And I always say, like in Jay, we've talked about this. TikTok is not my ministry per se, but it's not on you, it's in you. So when I get a chance to speak and speak to a level of spiritual level above me, it's always above me and never about what I want. Because I may want Zazzy to walk and she may want to jog, but am I value like God is still working me over to get me right? So why not I give her grace? I can't make that conditional on a sense of because when Zaddy shows stumbles, just like we all stumble, I'm gonna have those conditional love that I set from from the start,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna wield it over her and use it as leverage to say you didn't do right. So now I'm gonna show you. But a good friend of mine told me it's never an opportunity to love like when you shouldn't. Your
Mm.
flesh, when your mind says, wait, was she there? She was talking to such and such behind my back? How dare she? Wait, hold on. I worked 80 hours
That's
a
a
week
fact.
and I
That's
barely
a
never
fact.
hugged this. I barely hugged this woman. I come home, I treat home like a hotel. Her little workmate, he compliment her all the time. I'm not saying that's right, but am I empathetic? Am I thinking about a situation? No. You know what I'm gonna do? What a lot of people do? Man, she played me, bro. I dare her. Who she thinks she is? Who I think I am before God? How many times? How long has he been looking at me doing all kind of unmentionables? So
Mm.
when you love and it's unconditional, it's hard to do because our the imperfect beings that we are, we can't fathom trying to figure this out and treat somebody the way God treats them sometimes. But I always say we do our best impersonation of being perfect, the best. And that's not for Zazzy, that's not for Ace, that's not for Angie, not for no perfect person to say, that's what you doing. That ain't doing good enough. As long as Zaz ain't her spouse, as long as when that man looks at her, he said, let me put down the red carpet and let me let her walk on my back. I can't look at him and say, what a fool. No, that man is loving unconditionally. If it doesn't work out, he is done. He as a person being malleable in God's hand, he has made himself what he's supposed to be to that woman.
Zazzy, Cook, can you say that phrase again? That might be the most profound thing I've heard
Mm-hmm.
in 2025. Can you say that phrase one more time, please?
He gonna be like, which one?
Yeah, yeah, you know it.
You know which one.
I really don't. I don't.
Yes, he
There's
gonna be
no better
on.
time to show love.
Oh yeah,
Wait,
yeah, yeah. Because as a is no better time than to show love when you don't have a reason to. When someone does like we know the scriptures say, and I'm sure Ace knows this. The scriptures say, "Love thy neighbor," but man, that's hard to do when that person keeps stepping on your grass. When that dog keep coming over and putting his mess in your yard. That's hard to do when somebody said they jelly of that and they showing it. That's hard to do when somebody's being showing vengeance against Angie. That's hard to do. But when you do it, that's when God says, "Good job, my child. Thank you for trying to do something that's your nature." We fight or flight. Your nature says somebody does something to you, man. Let me put them up. But when you step back and show love, is no better thing than that. That's the ultimate reward. Giving love, whether you receive it or not, is the ultimate reward. And that's what love truly is.
that's a
Unconditional.
Back,
Let
oh,
me write that down.
you're exactly right. If you go right there in Romans 8, it said, "Vengeance is mine," says the Lord. If your enemy thirsts, you still give him a drink, right? If your enemy hunger, you still got to feed him. I mean, because think about when Jesus went up Golgotha Hill, he marked, they beat him, they spit on him, they mocked him, they did everything to him for us. But in
What he
between,
said? What he said? What he said,
right
Ace?
before he died, he
What he
said,
said?
"Father, forgive them, for they
They
know
don't
not
know
what
what
they
they
do."
do.
Know what they doing?
Yeah, so I mean, if he got all this done to him by them, they wouldn't even give him a drink of water. They gave him, in fact, they gave him a water on a sop that was going to burn the bruise that they put on his body. And so he said, "Forgive them." No, it was meant to heal them, but it wasn't the water that he was thirsty for. So he simply said, "Forgive them," after they've done all this to me. So there is nothing that none of us has gone through that badly that we can't forgive, that we can't still give our enemy thirst, that we can't still forgive that neighbor who keeps stepping on our grass that we just planted, and the dog keep using the bathroom on our grass. So we just got to be, and it's tough. It's that's why I'm so happy it's not three strikes out, but all of us will be out.
Been out.
Out.
I'm so happy that he don't think like we do because we'll be out. You
I would
know,
have
see
never made it to
the game.
20.
Neither would I. I mean, we
But
all
knock
can tell
off
that
everybody.
story.
They done
So,
made it
so,
to.
so, so I'm so glad about it. So, but you're right. It's a journey, and that's why these types of groups that you got going on, Zazie, they have to happen because it said we should be encouraging to each other. We got to encourage each other because no two people are strong at the same time. So when somebody's going through and they're weakened, because we will all be attacked by Satan and all of his demonic spirits. So when we being attacked, we need somebody to come in and pray for us. You know, James 5 said when someone among you is sick, and sick is not always when you are sick with a cold or sick with the flu. Sometimes sick is that mental sickness, that emotional sickness. But when somebody among you is sick, you call the elders of the church to pray for you. And the elders are not just the old people. The elders are the people who know the word of God. That's who you call. You call those people. That's your support line right there.
And that scripture also says not only would they recover from whatever their illness is, but their sins would also be forgiven. So it is powerful to come in and pray for someone who is in need. And listen, y'all, I I recently had to walk out. Well, I didn't have to, but I did, and it made me a better person. I cannot tell you how many people told me to walk away from my ex-husband. He was sick, and I've shared this here before in this space. He put his children before our marriage, and I, I was in a deficit in our marriage more often than not, and he became very, very ill, and there was no one there. And when I say no one, there was no one there. His children, adult children, two of which lived in his house, who he literally took care of every financial need that they had. Them and one of them had her own children. Her spouse even moved in the house. And for what, 3 weeks, I think it was, I never saw the inside of my house because I went from work to the hospital, work to the hospital, work to the hospital. And it was not for any other reason than love. All I could see was, how would you want to be treated if that was you in that hospital? How would you feel if there was no one there to advocate for you? What state would you be in if you didn't have anyone to scratch your back? Like, it was simple things like him saying, my back is itching so bad. And it was because he had been laying on his back for days and he was sweating and he was itching to the point, and he couldn't move. He couldn't sit up. And this man was like, I'm 5'5.5". This man was 6'5.5". And I'm trying to pull him up. And there were days when I was so tired. My back was hurting, dealing with pull muscles in my chest from trying to lift him up. And times when he was frustrated and angry, and when I say stress me out, and I would have to leave the room and go to the family room sometimes and cry and pray because he was making me so angry. But I realized it was because he was sick. And a little bit of that narcissistic behavior that was there on top of that sickness would come up, and I would tell Z sometimes, I don't know if this is the old him or this is the sickness. So my flesh would be in a war against my heart. But right before he got sick, this thing about forgiveness kept coming up. Every church service, every TikTok, every YouTube forgiveness. And I was like, I don't have anything against anyone. Like it's nothing in my heart. And I had to go back and there were people who would come to me, but never him. And it wasn't until like this very live right here that I thought about it. I had to forgive him to be able to love him. And that love was not in and of myself because Angie does not possess that on her own. That was nothing but the love of my father. And let me tell you, right at the end, so he would never say Jesus because he left out of sin and went straight into being an Israelite. So he didn't know anything about Jesus. He didn't know anything about God. He knew his name as Yahweh. He knew his name as Yahshua. But one night towards the end, he cried out and he screamed out Jesus. And his daughter, they just began to rebuke him. Oh, you lost your mind. And I sat down and I said, did you hear what you said? And he said, what? I said, are you okay? And he said, what do you mean? I said, I'm trying to find out where you are mentally. He said, I'm here. And I said, but I've never heard you say Jesus like in the tone that you just said it. What's going on? I need some clarity. And he said to me, I never understood it the way I understand it now. He says sometimes we have to go through things to understand other things better. He said, you told me all the time that when you first came to salvation, you came in the name of Jesus. He said, I never understood that because that's not what I was taught. He said, but you being here by my side, you not allowing anything that we went through, not allowing the way I treated you, the way I mistreated you. He said it had to be deeper. It had to be something else that I didn't know anything about. But do you know if I never went as hard for that man as I did, maybe he wouldn't have had the opportunity to see what he saw before he left this side. And sometimes we have to bite the bullet. We like that humbling, that letting go. Those times that I had to walk out of that room and go in that family room and cry instead of saying something to him. All of those times allowed him to see the love of Messiah in my life over Angie, because that's who he always saw. He always saw Angie, because Angie was like, you better get out of my face. Like, I don't know, you got this twisted. I ain't her.
Right.
But I chose silence. And in my choosing silence, he got to see the one I represented. And that means more to me this day than anything that I have ever accomplished in my life. Everybody's saying you don't have to do this, you don't owe him anything. They got to see what the love of my father looks like, because they also knew that was not Angie. So when I hear you say, Ace, when I heard Ace say, if the man will lead as he follows, what I heard you say is, if you do it the right way, the woman can follow effortlessly.
She can.
And that is so true. And it's not a tick for tack. It's not a, if you do right, then I'll do right. But it is, if you do right, even if you strive to do right,
Exactly.
it makes it easy and we can't resist it. Either we will fall in line or we will fall out the house. It's one or the other. If it's not in us to do right, we'll leave. But if like, you cannot resist it. I have lived it. When that man when sickness caused him to humble himself and follow the Father the right way, even when he didn't dot every I, even when he didn't cross every T, his heart intended to. I couldn't argue. I couldn't fight. I couldn't be Angie. I had to be quiet and I had to fall in line. And when the fight rose up, I had to take it out of the room and I had to deal with it in silence and in prayer and then go back in that room. And I literally, my friend told me, she said, I saw you live out every vow that you took as a wife. She said, even as an ex-wife, I saw you be everything, that every vow that you took. Do you know that meant more to me than any award, any certificate, any trophy? That, because I honored the vows, and that's all I ever wanted to do. I only wanted to be the person that I vowed to be. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to be able to do that. And who said that, Ace? You said every knee shall bow and every tongue shall confess. Let me tell you what he would always say. He would always say, every knee is gonna bow and every tongue is gonna confess. He would say, and if you don't have knees, you will have some one day. He said he'll give you knees because you're gonna bow.
Yeah.
You're gonna bow.
Exactly.
And I saw him because his heart was turned towards the Father. He just had bad information.
Yeah.
But because his heart was right, the Father gave him an opportunity, just like that one who was hanging on that tree beside him. He said, if you are that one, I don't know for sure, but if you are, just remember me. And I'm grateful that he was remembered before he left this side. I'm going on mute. Thank you.
Well, honey, you just said a lot. I appreciate it. So, I don't know if anybody has any comments before I go back to the question, the original question that was not answered yet. Mr. J?
Yes, love.
Okay. When should a woman be quiet? And that question is for all men up here on the panel and men in the audience. When should a woman be quiet in a relationship?
So first and foremost, when you say a woman should be quiet in a relationship, that gives a very bad understanding of the concept. Real question should be, when should a person be quiet in a relationship? That's any relationship.
All right.
And there's a lot of different times where silence is better than speaking. In a relationship with your best friend, in a relationship with your children, in a relationship with your boss, in a relationship with your parents or grandparents or whatever, there's times where silence is better because the person could take the conversation south, because it could be viewed as a challenge to whatever they're trying to do, and a person can take that as a direct, look at them being sabotaged, maybe. But being silent and speaking properly is also a difference. If somebody is trying to make suggestions, let's say, back to you taking the lead at work, and you got 5 people that you're trying to, do some sort of project, it's not always advantageous to speak your mind on every single issue. You have to choose which battles are important. And so, because we are all different, pretty much everything another person does, we're going to have a different nuanced view to it. So it's probably best to be silent until it's something that matters to the relationship you have, whatever, with that other person. That goes with anybody. I mean, if your wife is, having a terrible day and, she's just tired. She done all kind of stuff and, the people in traffic done made her mad and she's going through a particularly rough time of the month and she's spazzing as a husband. I mean, this ain't the time to tell her, well, you ain't speaking right. Just chill. Like, I understand, and listen. And the same thing with a wife. If the husband is trying to get something accomplished and you have views that are contrary to his and you voiced it, what you thought would be a better option. And then he makes a decision of, well, let's do this and see how it work out. Yeah. All right. It's time for, to let's put our head down and get to work. This ain't the time to keep going back and forth, with the person. Also in arguments, when you see the argument starts to get emotional and out of hand, it's time to be quiet. So it's not people portray it as it's some type of, master and a slave type situation. And it's not that. It's just be cool. Like, don't be obnoxious about certain things. It's time to talk. It's time not to. So
Someone has their hand up. Angie.
Okay, remember the book that we read where the man was talking about how yeah, that one.
The
Yeah.
one you load, love, and respect.
hmm So this topic came up and I learned so much
Yeah.
in that moment. So I didn't know that when women and men are engaged in conversations that aren't so happy, right? Okay, so let me just give you an example. If we're talking and it has come to a heated discussion, and you say, all right, I'm done, right? As a woman, it is, no, it's not over. Like, no, you're not just gonna walk away. So what I heard men in that conversation, and I've followed up and I've asked men the same thing, that just because a man tables something in that moment, it doesn't mean that he is not willing to revisit it later. And I always felt like it was disrespect, right? Or a man trying to shut something down and ignore it and not deal with it. That's what I always felt. And in that conversation, the men were saying, no, that's not always the case. Like, we're just not going to be arguing and going back and forth. And if you're yelling, we rather just table it and come back at a later time, maybe, or just if it just never resurfaces, then it just wasn't meant to be. So what I learned in being quiet, and I don't think a lot of us know.
Yeah, we don't.
I really don't, because I was 53 when I learned this. But I really felt like it was disrespectful that when we're talking about something that's important for our family or relationship or whatever, if a man goes, no, like, not right now, or I'm not doing this right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's what I was speaking to, that I just don't think that a lot of times it is meant to be an argument, but it's really frustrating as a woman when you want to discuss something and a man just like shuts it down with no explanation. And I think that that's one of our issues as men and women. We just don't know a lot about each other and how the other sex works, or think. And yeah, so that's why I asked that. I just wanted some clarity on that.
And what I've learned. Oh, let me see if the man wants to. Oh, could you drop down again? Because I don't be looking at the screen.
I can
I'm
share.
not the
I can share.
greatest. I'm not the greatest moderator.
I can share some things around that.
Go ahead.
That's another hard piece for relationship building. Read this book called Fierce Conversation by
Okay.
Susan Scott,
Let me look it up.
and one of the key pieces that she put in there was sometimes you have to let silence do the heavy lifting. And just because he wanna place pause on that doesn't mean he want to revisit it. One, he trying to maintain his dignity because he know he's about to get out of hand with it if it continues. And two, he's going into reflective mode, and the silence is not being disrespectful, but the silence giving him an opportunity to become a reflective practitioner and reflect on the whole gamut. And he would probably come back to you and say, when we talked about this right here, you were right. But because you keep perpetuating, you're provoking him. But no, you're not gonna give him that space. Solid, let solid do the heavy lifting. Sometimes you guys go into solid mode, and we need to learn to appreciate that as well, and not be trying to figure it out. Why she's quiet? Why she giving me the solid treatment? No, she's probably reflecting, and she's probably trying to think how she want to, preference her conversation so that she won't ruffle feathers and things of that nature. So everybody deserves that moment to go silent. But it's not
Mm.
disrespectful. It's actually out of respect.
To, to kind of piggyback off what you said too, Ace. I got a motor mouth, so I talk a lot, and I had to learn where my spouse, on the other hand, she's not a conversational type person. She just not. But someone gave me some information years ago, and they talked about just like anything, there's a time to speak and there's a time to, be quiet. There's a time, there's a time. These things are designated for the proper time, and that range true because, um, like you alluded to, silence is golden. Um, and what I had to figure out is there'll be times that he classified it. He said, "I'm a discusser and she's a avoider." So he, what I had to figure out through that article is when to discuss something, and she had to figure out when when she couldn't avoid something. So that's that two, like I said, that's corresponding to each other and that compromise. I can't discuss everything. She can't avoid everything. So I had to now, as I'm doing my due diligence to not discuss everything, and um, if she doesn't acquiesce and respond on her end, I still need to play my part, and
Yeah.
that's the sacrificing part. That's
And,
you putting your mark on the situation, despite what that other person may or may not do.
and that was well said, Bad Cove, because also in Susan Scott's book, The Fierce Conversation, she goes on to say the Marquito has to be addressed. The Marquito is the elephant in the room, and that elephant is not going to get rid of itself. Only communication is going to help you get rid of that elephant. You just got to find the right way to deliver and to receive and to interact to get rid of that Marquito or that elephant in the room.
and,
So
and also,
that's
sorry.
I'm good. You good?
Oh, okay. Also, too, that's also not to say that silence or avoidance can be weaponized. It can be.
Mm-hmm.
So a person's agenda and intentions are also important to that. And you would hope that in a relationship that this person is trying to do these things out of love, but you could very much so weaponize that. You know, I've done it. I've been in relationships with people where I knew me not talking would get me what I want.
Mm.
And I would be like, oh, okay, you don't want to do it that way. That's cool, bro. And I'll just shut down. And I know that it's going to get me what I want, and so that can be weaponized.
It can, but remember, you got to come back to that Marquito. You got to come back to the elephant in the
Right, right,
room.
right, right.
Otherwise, it's going to take up all the space and it's going to suffocate your household, right?
And
Because
so,
you're only going to keep eating, getting bigger, eating, getting bigger, until you take up all the room in the house. So you got to address them. So you can't be silent forever. That's only a temporary fix. It's not the solution.
right, and that's what I'm saying. The intent and agenda of doing certain things is also important. That person's heart condition toward the situation, because water is good for you, but you can also drown in it. And so, you know, there's a time to be quiet, but that quiet could be weaponized. There's a time to avoid something, but that could be weaponized. So we also have to make sure that we look in ourselves and say, am I doing this for the right reason? Because we have to make sure that that intention and our agenda is to be loving and successful. And that then allows us to address the issue at hand, whatever that situation is, whether it's disrespect, or whether it's disloyalty, whatever the real issue is. We can address it now because we know we're coming at it from a honest standpoint. But there are people who absolutely weaponize certain things, and so not every situation is not the same. But when there's love from both parties, any obstacle can be overcame through proper communication. And like the brother brought up, your process would be genuine then. So that silence becomes a genuine silence, or avoidance becomes a genuine situation to, table something and come back to it later, as opposed to somebody who knows that I can get what I want just by manipulating this a certain way. And so that also is something to keep in mind for ourselves, because you can't control the other person.
My hands raised.
Go ahead, sis.
Um, I have never, ever in all of my days heard a man acknowledge that. I have witnessed it. I have experienced it. It's always women want to use what they got, and if we don't do this, they use it. And that's very true. We talked about that in this space, that it should not happen. Women should not. We should not do that. We do know what we have. We do know how to use it. It's innate. Like nobody teaches you that. It's
Mm-hmm.
just something we know. I have never heard a man acknowledge that. And it is so, oh my. Like, I even talked to someone and I was like, can you just admit that sometimes you will say, okay, because I know this is going to hurt you, because I know this is something that will cause you to break down. I use that. Like, oh my gosh, I'm going on mute. Thank you. I don't know. This has been so
I appreciate it.
I don't even know the word, but it's been something.
Yeah.
Miss Angie, if you replace the word women need to or men need to with people need to, I think that answer become a lot more clear. You
Mm.
take
You
away that.
have been saying that. You have, and I do like that. I do. Um, and I'm sorry for cutting you off, but good grief. It's just so good. It's so amazing. I went to a live maybe a year ago, and I will never forget. I was so frustrated because the host kept saying that women did this, and I was just trying to say, but can you see that it's not just us?
Right.
Like we all have fault. Like we have all messed up. And if you can see, just I said just step outside of just looking at us, because he was saying that women are so controlling and masculine. And I was like, I said, if you would look at the cause of it, then we could all sit at the table and then figure out how
Right.
we can resolve these issues. Because you're right. You're absolute. I acknowledge you are right. But can we look at why this is an issue? And then we can see, okay, this is what caused that. This is what played a part in that. And then we can talk about how to avoid it moving forward. So you're absolutely right. It is people and not just men and not just women. And I've never been able to properly articulate that, but that's my it's been my argument for so long. You know, when I go on a post and I see, well, single women, and I'm like, well, there are some single dads too. Well, single women, single mothers shouldn't have to experience that either. And I'm like, if we just come together, everything is so divisive. If we could just come together and just be people instead of her and him, I just think that our families would be so much better. Like,
Right.
okay, I'm going back on mute again. Thank you.
Please stop.
I have to because I'll keep talking.
We want you to. Is it possible that we all lack patience? Because I as I'm listening to you guys talk, it's just like, I think that we lack patience, and patience looks different for the both of us, because I'm one of those people. When I'm very nervous, I'm a talker, but when I'm nervous, I'm talking even more. But when I'm excited, I'm talking a lot. And so one of my things that I do is I like to talk. And so I'm one of those people in relationship, is like, I want to talk to you all the time. And like, I can be texting you like throughout the day, and as soon as you get home, I'm gonna be so excited, like the dog. I'm gonna be excited. I'm gonna make the kids excited. Whoever's in the house is gonna be excited, and I'm gonna wanna, and I'm gonna probably tell you everything that I've just told you. But now I'm gonna be able to see your face when I tell you, and you may not want to hear that again because you already heard it. But women and men are very different, and just we don't have the patience that we probably need to. Okay, thank you for coming in, Ace. I really appreciate you. I'm gonna drop you if you want me to. Let me drop you so you keep your points. Did you want to say something before you go, or you already said it? Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna drop you so you can keep your
But
points.
Zazzy, I don't know. I
Hey,
think for every person every woman that has that type of energy,
Mhm.
there's somebody who wants that type of person.
Okay, where they at? I can't find him. Where he
And
at?
some people are not talkers, and so they love the idea of somebody else being there. Some people are not funny, and they love the idea of somebody else making them laugh.
Okay.
You know, I remember I was in a relationship one time with somebody who was funny, and I was, really like, I'm the joker. Like, I'm always the one joking,
Mhm.
and she was legitimately funny, but it was like the whole time it's like we doing too much joking, because she joking, I'm joking, and then it's like, well, you need that serious person, you know.
Yeah.
And so, and that works in TV shows, you always have the straight man and the comedian,
Mhm.
but it's like you need two different type of people. That's why there is a compliment. You don't go to McDonald's and say, give me three servings of French fries.
Mhm.
You say, give me a burger, fry, and a drink.
Right.
You want things that's gonna go with it. So your personality, and it can be innately men that's more quiet,
Mhm.
but I think personalities come in all different shapes and forms outside of gender too. So, there's somebody who's like, they can't wait to hear about your day.
Even though he already heard it.
Yeah. He,
Oh,
he, he his love language is,
where is he?
right up that alley.
Where is he? I don't
I'm
see
looking
him.
for, turn off the light.
Okay.
Where he at though?
Where he at though? Where he at though? Because I mean,
But
I got something to say. I got so much to tell him that he has missed out on.
I'm gonna tell you where he at. You friend zone him.
Ain't no way. Ain't no way.
I'm just
Ain't
joking with
no way.
you. He the one that you call to help you move, and help you paint your apartment, and you string him along, how I go into.
No, we don't know how it goes because I'm too old for
Nope.
the grandson
Nope.
people.
Negative.
I don't know. I don't
Negative.
know. That's the
He's that
thing.
he's that nice guy that he's not my type, but that's the one who wanted to listen to
I don't even know where they are. Like
you.
I'm listening to you and I'm thinking and
Right.
I yeah, I don't have that group. I don't have
Now there could have been a time, but I'm not even freshly divorced because I divorced during COVID, right? So there was a time that I had a lot of homeboys, and I think as I got older, they just fizzled out. A lot of them got married because they were good dudes, right? So I could have very well had him in my life, and I was just talking to one of my best friends from high school, and she just had a loss of her family, and so we were talking this morning, and she and I shared a friend that was like a brother to both of us. And I've had men in my life that have loved me in a way that they really prepared me for my man. But because I was so my I had a raw personality, and I still have it, but it's more mature now. And I was just that girl that this is who I am, and I got opinions, and I don't have patience, and I don't, but I loved hard, and I had great friends. But I don't think that I was able to be the wife that I needed to be, or even that girlfriend that I really needed to be to develop into the relationship that I desired. I mean, of course, I could meet a man, but I was extremely immature, and but the men that I had male friends that they were my brothers, and they weren't saying to me that if you want a good man, this is what you need to have, but they were showing me how to just get the love that I needed. And maybe that's the reason why I was like, well, I got brothers, I got, and I didn't see them beyond what they were for me. And but I'm looking back, and I really, really appreciate them. Yeah, they went on mute. I don't want y'all to go on mute. But I really, really appreciated them because they helped me to recognize how to love a man in a way that I don't think I really understood.
Mom, is this your code?
Is this my code? Why do you need that?
For the game.
No, you don't need. That's my email. Okay. Can you this boy. I kind of lost my train of thought, but I think that, and it goes back to women. A lot of women don't have. Okay, you got to roll. Okay, I'm gonna drop you. Thank you so much for coming in. I really appreciate you. I'm gonna drop you.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, Jay. You just brought so much to this conversation. And I know we probably gotta go too. Because life got a life. I know everybody got stuff to do. But I guess I got from that, Angie, and I want you to say what you got from it too. I think I got from it is that we need to really, really, as we look at intimacy, we really gotta work on patience. Thank you, Jay. I mean, I really appreciate you. I really, really do. We got to work on patience. Angie, what you think?
Honey, it's so much to work on. I don't even know where to begin. Like every time I think I have it together, we have a conversation like this, and then I'm like,
We go
yeah,
back.
Back to the drawing board.
See why I'm still, Lord, I see why I haven't met my man.
Right.
Oh boy.
Exactly. I'm like, that's why. That's why. I thought I had it together, but I didn't.
In a few minutes, a little while.
This was so helpful, though. It was so good.
It was, girl. And this boy is like they already the plans have been made. They coming back to find out how long it's gonna take. So
I heard him whispering. That's
yeah,
why I started laughing.
I'm like he wanted to be in the camera so he can let all y'all know I got to shut down. Um, well, sis, I don't know. I know I just pray that everybody has an amazing day. We're gonna be getting back on at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time tomorrow for our book. We're gonna be talking about where's the book, child? I'm on the 7 levels, but we're gonna be talking about grief. What's it called? Grief today. What's the name of the book, Angie? Oh my goodness, I don't have. I think it's in the kitchen. What is it? It's in my TikTok shop. I can't think of the name of the book. But that's what we're going to be talking about. So if you guys want to come in, all of us have dealt with some level of grief, whether we've lost a job, we've lost a loved one, and so, lost our homes, grief goes through various levels. And so we're just going to be talking about it. We've had some great people come through those conversations too, that live as well. But if not, we'll be back on Saturday to talk about love and our men, our woman, and what we're going to do to be that woman, what we're going to do to maintain those relationships. I want to thank everybody. The grief day by day. Thank you, Angie, because I just, I saw you go on my book clubs. Yes, honey, go find a book, child. Grief day by day. So that's the name of the book. It's in my TikTok shop. I got some videos on it. It's an amazing. Oh, you didn't see it? Oh, I didn't. I had to put it in my cart. It's in my cart, but those are the ones I pinned, so it's not pinned. So in my pen, I just got my water bottle. I got some tea in here, and I got my socks. If you do live, you need to have some compression socks if you gonna live all the time. So I put them in there because maybe y'all need to get some. Y'all be wondering why y'all legs is doing what it. But if you sit down for long periods of time, if you have a job where you're sitting down a lot, you need some compression socks. So you ain't got to be old to have some compression socks. You just want to keep that blood flowing. But either way, I love you guys. I'm getting ready to get off. Have an amazing Saturday. Love you all. Thank you all for all that you've done to make this live. And Ange, I love you, girl. So I will talk to you guys later. Everybody. How do I get off?
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, sis. Everybody.